Hello there. Welcome to The Right Hook. I am Steve Hook, your host. It's great to have you back. We've made it to the weekend. TGIF, it's here, thankfully. This week, well, as it is a Friday, you know what that means. We're going to welcome our friend in our Fridays with Michael in just a sec. Michael Lauber, there he is now. Of course, Michael is the co-host with Derek Evans of Ex-American News, The Insurrection. And you can find that on Ex-American. Well, you can find this show on Ex-American News and Rumble and, God, just about everywhere, right, Michael? How are you, brother? Good to see you, man.
Oh, I'm just another day in paradise over here. Another day in America's glorious new golden age.
The golden age is upon us. The infrastructure is the word from Trump on the infrastructure is plate everything in gold, and I'm kind of liking it. This show, well, the whole theme of the show is the week that was, and we can sum it up in in 4 words. Trump wins, Democrats lose. Michael, I mean, this has been quite an auspicious week for President Trump. He goes over to the Middle East with high hopes, no doubt. A lot of people thought he's aiming a little bit high, but hopefully it'll be a marginally decent trip. Ended up being a phenomenal trip. And then as if the stars weren't aligned enough to make the trip perfect, as all of that is happening for President Trump and the United States of America, it should be added, the Democrats are back home stepping all over their own junk. I mean, the Democrats are taking a card out of the old Republican playbook, which is destroy their own party.
Yes.
And I've never seen the Democrats flail about so badly. It seems like it was just a few weeks ago, Michael, we were talking about what a stupid move it was to name David Hogg the vice chair of the DNC. 2.5, 3 weeks later, they've basically removed him. He's going out everywhere saying he's pissed, and rightly so, because the party's not nearly far left enough for David Hogg. The irony of that is, of course, what David Hogg is saying isn't necessarily wrong. Of course, his prescription to fix the problem is not even close to right, but that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
And then you've got Comey with this BS that what the hell was James Comey thinking? He's definitely got TDS.
Yeah.
We've got Springsteen in London crapping all over Trump, being a complete hypocrite, out of touch, not knowing how to read the room. I mean, of all countries to pull that stunt in London, in England, where they have all but given up what it means to be English by surrendering to idiotic policies that someone like Bruce Springsteen would agree with. So that's what we're going to touch. I just did a quick laundry list of all the stuff this week. What do you got, Michael? What do you think, man?
I mean, my big takeaway from the week has been just the Democrats completely melting down. You know, we started the week with the removal of David Hogg, even though he's probably like the ideal person for them right now, because he, like the rest of their party, his policies 180 degrees out of step with America right now. You know, we've talked about it on here before, that they keep glomming on to the losing side of a bunch of 70-30, 80-20, and 90-10 issues. They picked the position that nobody in the U.S. wants. We also had this Democrat reps attack federal officers at an ICE facility, and it looks like they might finally pay the price for that. That the Alina Habba and others are now saying that they'll have arrests pending, that the charges have been filed, and they're going to arrest them, which is going to be great. We've been promised more meltdowns from AOC and others, Hakeem Jeffries, that they do that. So I'm definitely there for that. I think they're just going to continue to self-destruct. It's really unfortunate that the Republicans are also just kind of crapping out right now, especially in the House. They can't get anything together. They can't pass this big, beautiful bill. Now that's apparently been stalled out by 5 rhinos. They tried to sabotage it before that and got caught. But, I guess this is my thing. And, we've discussed this on the Insurrection a few times now this week, is I think in 2026, the Republicans are going to pick up a bunch of seats, but it isn't because they're doing so well. It's because Trump's done well. but it's going to mostly because the Democrats are just so terrible and so out of step with America. And if you do the math, with over $7 trillion now, I've heard as high as 7.5 trillion now in new investment coming into the U.S. for new jobs, and we are already starting to see those hit. We've got signs up here now for manufacturing jobs in Indiana. I'm not far from the border over there, and I know that I was out in Inglewood and out in Vandalia a couple days ago, where we have a lot of manufacturing companies here near where I live, and they've all got signs up too. It's like things are bouncing back. So we're going to have an amazing economy a year from now when we're talking about the 2026 election cycle. And I think the Republicans are going to be miles ahead, but it's not going to be because they earned it. It's because the Dems are awful and what Trump's doing is working.
Yeah, you're right. And concerning the big, beautiful bill, it looks like it may be broken up into a two-part bill now. Who knows? We'll see how that plays out. There are some rhinos and there are some hardcore ultra conservatives which are saying they don't want to spend it. You get the isolationist types like the Rand Pauls and those that want no part of it. But I'm also hearing that it's definitely going to happen, and that's this is the stall. It's a weekend stall. We come back next week, and hopefully this time next week we're talking about how they got it passed. But you're right. But I mean, this is what I mean, Michael. This is exactly what I'm talking about. The Democrats are taking a page out of the Republicans' playbook. The Republicans are still apt to screw up and step on their own junk every now and again. The stalling of this bill is an example of that. But Democrats are lost on pretty much everything.
Yes.
Messaging. I'm reading the room. I don't know if you saw the interview that Hannity did with Trump aboard Air Force One, where Trump makes a great point. He goes, they're not just backing 20% to 80% issues. They're taking issues that are 90-10, 99-1, and they're backing the one. And they are doing that. Everything from the Abrego guy and the MS-13 guys, these jokers in Newark, rushing the ICE detention center, boys and girls sports, men's and women's locker rooms, every possible issue that that is not playing with the American people, they're jumping on, and that's their thing. And
yeah, if there's a loser, they'll find it.
They'll find it, and they'll sniff it out and champion and rally around the losing issue. And here's the thing. Now you've got, we talked about this on Wednesday with my guest, Ryan Morrow. And that is, we've got Jake Tapper coming out with this book, which is just, I mean, the chutzpah of this guy, the absolute balls of this guy to put this book out, Original Sin, the cover up, and how Biden's decision to run again was devastating and blah, blah. When he was absolutely a part of the cover up, now he's trying to kind of say, okay, well, look, there were things I knew that I didn't say, and I feel bad about it, and I'm really humbled by it, and blah, 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 BS. Please go buy my book. It's just such nonsense. But the problem now is that everybody's looking at the Democrats and saying, where's the leadership? Who's the leader of that party? The media is obviously trying to distance themselves from some of the big high-ranking Dems because they don't want to be accused of helping complicit in the cover-up, which they were, so they can't deny it.
Well, yeah. Well, I think that's their big concern with Tapper's book, too. I mean, I'm sure you saw this, but he went out and hired some crisis PR guru to try to help take some of the heat down, because apparently whatever's in this book too reveals a lot of dim insiders knew the whole time. And again, and all of us knew this. It doesn't exactly take a rocket surgeon to figure it out. Everybody knew this, but then like he has direct evidence in this book apparently that they knew, they were covering it up. We already heard the leaks from staffers saying they were, I guess they were already having to push Biden around in a wheelchair in the White House. And they were concerned that if he were to have won the 2024 race, that they'd basically be pushing him in his colostomy bag around the White House in a wheelchair, and there'd be no way to cover it up anymore.
Yeah, well, there really was. And see, that was the problem. And this is why when I go back and I watch those videos of Biden saying, Donald Trump says he wants to debate me. Go ahead, buddy, make my day. I'll even make it 2 debates. And of course, he got about 5 minutes into that one and only debate. And it was clear to anybody that was watching that it was over. I can tell you this. I was on a riverboat on the Rhine in Germany and parts of France when that debate happened. And I watched it and was like, oh, my God, This is a complete disaster. And so now what's happening is the Democrats are left adrift. They don't have a leader to speak of. AOC is trying to take up a lot of oxygen. She's not the leader of that party, although she's the biggest figurehead right now. Her and David Hogg.
Hey, I say make her the leader.
Yeah, make her the leader, for God's sakes. Right on. But I want you to see Hakeem Jeffries. Now, Hakeem Jeffries, I'm sure they all had great hope for Hakeem, thinking that he's going to come in there as a minority leader in the House. He's going to shake things up. He's going to get this is new blood. New blood, baby. We're out with the old, in with the new. So he goes on with Wolf Blitzer, another MSNBC, not MSNBC, he's CNN, but MSM, I should say, mainstream media.
Potato.
Yeah, potato, exactly right. Tomato. He's a hack. He covered up Biden's thing too. So he puts Hakeem Jeffries on blast, asking about why people don't trust the Democrat brand anymore. I want you to watch this because he asks him 3 separate times, and Hakeem Jeffries refuses to answer the question. He just dances around it. Hakeem Jeffries with Wolf Blitzer on CNN. Cut 1, Michael, if we could, please.
What would be best for the party at that given moment in time? President Biden subsequently made the decision that he was going to pass the baton to Vice President Kamala Harris. Of course, that was a decision that we supported strongly.
Just very quickly, I want to ask you, Congressman Jeffries, you say we're not looking back, we're looking forward, but what happened in the past has to do with what's going to happen in the future and whether voters can trust Democrats. As you look back, you were in a leadership position when President Biden decided to run again. Should you have done more at that point to intervene?
It's a great question in terms of whether voters can trust Democrats or not. Every single high-profile special election that has taken place since President Trump was inaugurated, a special election victory in Iowa in January, a special election victory in New York in February, a special election victory in Pennsylvania in March, a special election victory in Wisconsin.
Now here's the thing. That's not the exact clip that I was thinking of, but it worked. It works because look what he's pointing to. He's pointing to special election victories. Where he's pointing, these victories were all in the deepest blue of the deepest blue areas. Well, and I know it was in New York. So, yeah. I mean, Pennsylvania is a little different.
Yeah, and oh, sorry, go ahead, and then I'll jump in.
No, I was just going to say they don't have, when you don't have much to fight with, when you don't have much to rally around, obviously you're going to point out these special elections, which are basically temporary positions at this point until the full body comes around and votes again. And, the voters really get their say. But what do you think about Hakeem Jeffries? Because in one of the clips, I don't know if you saw it, Wolf asks him point blank, do you think you should have handled it differently? And he just, we're not looking back. We're looking forward. So that seems to be the mantra. There's your talking points from the Democrats. We're not looking back. We're looking forward. Now, of course, during the Biden administration, they constantly looked back to the Trump administration and tried to put him in jail, tried to put all of his people in jail. They did everything they could. Now that the shoe is on the other foot, they're not looking back anymore. That's funny how that works out.
Well, yeah, not looking back is a big part of the problem. Why they're at where they are right now is they're not learning any lessons from the 2024 election. They're not connecting the fact that, again, they're on the wrong side of all these issues, that they continue to fight for transing your kids. They continue to take away parental rights. They continue to push gun control in numerous states. They are continuing to value illegal alien murderers over American citizens. They're on the wrong side of just about every issue. So, yeah, I hope they continue to not look back. But, yeah, the Pennsylvania one is different. I mean, that was a big failure on the GOP. Yeah. There was zero effort to get out the vote. And this is something that we should be concerned about is we need the RNC and GOP party apparatus needs to get in line with both the America First agenda and start getting serious about winning these races and stop worrying about, they need to take a different perspective to how they view a lot of these races, start actually fighting to win and not worrying about incumbency.
Well, Pennsylvania, and I think the GOP owes a huge debt of gratitude to one Scott Presler, because Scott Presler went to PA and he, for over a year, was pounding on doors, got a whole bunch of, about grassroots, and he really did turn the vote out there in Pennsylvania, and he flipped that state. from if not solid blue, it was certainly more blue than red. It was certainly
Yeah.
purpley, and he flipped that state, and now he's in New Jersey trying to do the same thing here. We'll see how it plays out. But the problem is Scott Presler leaves PA, and all of a sudden the Pennsylvania GOP drops the ball completely.
Yep.
So yeah.
And yeah, there was another activist there, and I'm sorry, his name escapes me, that was also signing up new voters in PA, and specifically, he was out of the state, again, somewhere else working, helping to recruit voters in another state, and he sounded the alarms about this election numerous times in the lead up to it, but again, the RNC did nothing, no effort to get out the vote, no, not even at the local level, but yeah, those are my big concerns. Like, we really need to get them in line, actually fighting to win.
Yeah. Well, I suspect that when Trump gets back into town, one thing I do know is that Trump is absolutely focused like a laser on the midterms.
Yes.
And I suspect he's going to light a fire under a few people's asses in the RNC, and the in the House GOP and the Senate GOP, and say, hey, you guys better start getting your act together. You don't want to take all of these wins and turn them into pathetic losses that we should have won, because the Democrats have nothing to run on right now. Let's flip this a little bit. Let's talk about Comey, because this is one of the this is Democrats and liberals. I've seen some of the commentators and some of the people on X and stuff already saying, "Oh my God, look at what they're trying to do. This is just like a dictator trying to arrest." Hey, listen, morons. James Comey was the FBI director. James Comey, if he was smart enough to become FBI director, he's smart enough to know what the hell 8647 means. Well, everybody knows what that meant. And it just means replace him. It just means replace him. That's all it means. Yeah, right. What do you think about it? His lame ass attempt at walking it back?
Well, there is something that even a lot of right-wing commentators seem to be missing is Comey made his career on going after the mob, prior till he made his career on going after President Trump and conservatives. But so he knows this lingo. He knows exactly what 86 means. And I didn't know this till this morning. I knew it meant to kill somebody, but I didn't know it meant 8 miles outside of town, 6 feet deep. That's where the phrase 86 comes from. But he certainly knew this lingo. He knows exactly what it means. Again, I guess this is what happens when you have stage 4 TDS, that you start doing stupid things that, again, as someone in law enforcement knows exactly what this is. I'm sure he assisted the Secret Service in investigating threats on, Barack Obama, President Trump, and others. So this should be no surprise to him. I think that's why he took the post down so fast. He's like, oh, crap. I'm going to get, at the very least, investigated. And I hear now that they are intending to charge him, which is good. That's what they need. That we need to send a message. We keep letting people get away with this nonsense. And yeah, you're right. We had 2 actual real life attempts on President Trump's life during the elections. And we've had 3 more people arrested for it just since Trump's inauguration. And we just had somebody else arrested yesterday for threatening to kill Nancy Mace, some other trans wingnut.
Yeah, well, they all hate Nancy Mace. God, no, the alphabet crowd hates her with a visceral, white hot passion. Yeah. But let me say, as somebody that worked in the food service industry many years ago, and for many years, I might add, 86 has always been just it's out, it's gone.
Yeah,
86 more recently has been absolutely slang for do away with, get rid of. So Comey, now this is just so rich. The other day, before he made this stupid post on, I guess it was X. Was it X, Michael, that he posted it on?
I don't know if it was X or Instagram, but somebody else found the full picture and zoomed out for us. So now we know what beach Comey was on.
Yeah, so there you go. 8647, that of course taken at Epstein's island. But he has a habit of doing this before. I saw on Fox News earlier this morning, he had posted one. I think you're right. I think it was on Instagram, but he posted one a couple of years ago where it said support Biden or Harris or one of them. So maybe it was a year or so ago. This guy takes, walks on the beach, and it just has to recharge his soul. I remember a few years ago when he took that picture in the forest with all the trees. Everybody's like, well, what's the meaning behind that? He's kind of a weird dude. He's a very from what I can pick up about James Comey, he's a snobbish, elitist type. And he knew exactly what that term meant. And if he didn't mean it to the way it sounds, well, as Trump said, he may have been incompetent as FBI director, but he wasn't so incompetent that he didn't know what that meant.
Yeah.
And I would love to see him go down for this.
Yeah, well, and he should. And again, like I said, I'm sick and tired of watching these people make threats and get away with it. AOC threatened federal police officers just the other day. Nothing's done about that. We've seen numerous threats on Trump's life, failed threats, direct threats, whatever else, and nothing's done about it. And that's why it keeps happening, is because we keep sending the message that Democrats are above the law because we want to play nice. We treat them with kid gloves. We don't want to arrest people and appear to be seen as mean. But as long as that happens, we're encouraging more and more bad behavior. Now, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe they'll continue to look more and more demented. But the other side of that coin is like him sending this message out. And again, with how many other people we've already had to arrest for attempting to assassinate President Trump, is who says this isn't the message that pushed somebody over the edge and caused them to do something. Because again, right. It's exactly.
And these people, by the way, these whack jobs that have the TDS, they look at James Comey and they say, "Now here's a good American. Now this guy loves his country. Now this guy wants to rid the world of the big evil orange menace. And I see what he's saying there, and I'm going to act on it." And that's why people are pissed, and that's rightly why they're pissed. But James Comey goes on Jen Psaki's insanely low-rated show, the Psaki Briefing. What an original name. Jen Psaki's show, the Psaki Briefing on MSNBC. And they're talking, and this is before he made this infamous seashell post that he did yesterday or so. But this is the day before that. So he's itching to get his name back in the news. I guess he's looking for some form of relevance. So he goes on Psaki's show, and she's saying, well, what can we do to put him in prison or something like that? Talking about Trump. And listen to what Comey had to say here. Cut 2.
So a lot of people have suggested that there are a range of factors that would make it difficult to put the system has not been tested in this way. Do you agree with that it would be difficult or nearly impossible for the law enforcement institutions to put him in actual jail?
No, they would just put him in a double wide somewhere out near the fence, out in the grass. And he would eat there, he'd shower there, he'd exercise there, he'd be away, as Danya Perry said, from general population, but it's obviously doable.
Oh my gosh, this guy, man, this is their fever fantasy here of getting Trump out in a double wide in the middle of a field. This is what they really want. And Comey is just unabashedly partisan here. It's such a horrible look for him. And by the way, more people just watched that clip than probably watched it live.
Probably.
Her show is so badly rated, it's not even funny. And you know why? For the same reason that Jake Tapper's writing this book. All of these media types, and let me ask you this, Michael, kind of on a little side tangent here. All of these media types, whether it's Jen Psaki, whether it's the ladies on The View, I wouldn't call them media, but for
I wouldn't call them ladies, but sorry, go ahead.
Good point. And at this day and age, do we really know what a lady is? But I mean, the Wolf Blitzers, all of them.
All these Democrats masquerading as journalists.
Yeah. So, I guess what I'm asking you is, who has destroyed themselves more, Democrats or the media, or is it the same question?
I think it is the same question, but I would actually say media, because I think Democrats voters kind of expect this kind of behavior from them now, that it's not that unusual. Again, even 10 years ago, a lot of this stuff they would have been thrown out of the party for if they had done even just 10 years ago, especially stuff like this, making direct threats or hitting ICE officers, stuff like that. It wouldn't have been tolerated. That was too far over the line. But I really think it's journalists, and only because of this, that they've completely lost the middle. I mean, we've discussed this multiple times, where MSNBC is down nearly 60% in viewership. CNN's down nearly 40% or just over 40%. I can't remember which. CBS is right around 30 to 35% drop. Bezos' Washington Post has lost 90% of their clicks in just over a year. So they've done this to themselves. They're completely irrelevant. They've lost the middle. The only people still watching CNN are coma patients in the hospital that can't change the channel, and probably a few people trapped at the airport. And otherwise, it's just these blue-haired moonbats that go down and burn Tesla dealerships on the weekend. So they're totally irrelevant. And I think they're starting to realize what they say has no impact on society anymore. It used to be, Walter Cronkite could tell the audience we were losing in Vietnam now, and that had an impact. Now it doesn't. Now they're a laughing stock.
Well, and I mean, you look at Walter Cronkite's famous sign-off. He used to always say, and that's the way it is. And people believed him. Now when they say, and that's the way it is, they're like, yeah, BS. No.
Yeah, fact check
that's
says
the way
false.
you want it to be. Yeah, fact check. Yeah, survey says bad answer. So Tulsi Gabbard goes on, and she's talking about Comey. And again, this is after the disastrous Psaki thing where he has this wet dream of putting Trump in a double wide out in the middle of a prison field where he can eat there, shower there, do his exercises there. Well, then he makes that stupid ass post, which everybody knows what it means, James, you fool. And Tulsi Gabbard, Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, very, very high ranking intel office, the highest ranking there is.
Yeah.
She says he belongs in prison. Cut 3. Let's play that one.
Do you believe Comey should be in jail?
I do. Any other person with a position of influence that he has, people who take very seriously what a guy of his stature, his experience, and what the propaganda media has built him up to be, I'm very concerned for the president's life. We've already seen assassination attempts. I'm very concerned for his life. And James Comey, in my view, should be held accountable and put behind bars for this.
Damn right. Damn right.
Yeah.
Damn right he should. And it wouldn't come as a shock to you at all, Michael, and I know it doesn't, that John Brennan immediately goes out on the news and starts saying stuff like that. She should have never even been confirmed. These people are getting scared, man, because they know. Now I know you and Derek, I've watched your program. You guys have bitched about where are the arrests, where are the frog marches, where are the damn orange jumpsuits. I get it. I'm with you on that. And I'm kind of one where I think put pressure on them, but I trust that they're going to get the job done. I hope the hell they do. But one thing is for certain, on the other side, they're pretty damn scared of what's going on because John Brennan's immediately out there trying to disparage Tulsi Gabbard because she fired a couple of people that were ne'er-do-wells, to say the least. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was going to, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, because she just got rid of a couple of his little pieces that were left behind in there. And they're trying to smoke out the rest of them right now. Same reason Obama and others have been upset that they've removed these other people from both the DOJ and the intel community that were Democrat insiders. Let's not forget about somebody else that I think really needs to go or they need to look at to remove, and that's Comey's daughter. Let me pull this up here real quick. Because do you know what cases Comey's daughter's been prosecuting?
What's that?
Epstein and Diddy. Rudy Giuliani says Comey's call for Trump's assassination raises red flags about his daughter and son-in-law working under Pam Bondi's DOJ. And again, like we need to eliminate all possible leaks, all saboteurs from the inside, and anybody like this that cannot be trusted. It's time to have them removed before they can do damage, whether that's direct damage against the Trump administration or sabotaging cases so their friends can avoid jail time and major Democrat donors.
Yeah, of course they are. I mean, James Clapper, John Brennan, all of these people ought to be frog marched as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And, I'm willing to give Pam, the one thing I know about Pam Bondi, and I know a lot of people are kind of laying this at her feet. It's one thing to be an attorney general in a state like Florida, and she was a damn good one. And it's another thing to go into the swamp and have to do it because not only are you dealing with the corruptocrats there, but you're also dealing with K Street. You're dealing with moneyed interest. And I'm not talking about a few million. I'm talking about trillions of dollars in lobbyist money and special interest and foreign interest. And all of that weight comes to bear on you, and it makes it, they kind of grind the wheels of justice to a halt for as long as they can. I hope that Pam Bondi is going to make some arrests soon, and we continue to keep our fingers crossed on that. Listen, let's take a quick break. We come back. We got more to get into as well. We'll talk about Well, we'll talk about whatever the hell we want to talk about because it's Friday. That's why you're watching The Right Hook. It's the Fridays with Michael edition with my guest Michael Lauber. I am Steve Hook, and The Right Hook will be right back right after this.
You're still looking good.
I'm still feeling good. You know, I've got all your MyPillow products. Mattress topper, bed sheets, MyPillows, towels, slippers, blankets.
I'm interrupting this commercial to do something I've never done before. Get 2 MyPillows absolutely free on orders of $100 or more. I can't do this forever, so get on board with this great sale today. Our best-selling 6-piece bath towel sets or kitchen towel sets, just $29.98. Our famous standard MyPillows only $14.98. Queens $18.98. King size only $1 more. Body pillows $29.98. Multi-use MyPillow 2.0s with pillowcase $9.98. Save $40 on our Spring Percale and Giza Dream bed sheet sets. Any size, any color. So go to MyPillow.com or call that number on your screen. Use your promo code to save up to 80% on all MyPillow products. And when you spend $100 or more, get 2 standard MyPillows absolutely free.
All right, there you go. Make sure you support Mike Lindell and his great company, MyPillow.com. We always talk about make America great again and America first. Well, if you want to buy some great products from MyPillow, know this. They're all made in America. Most of them made in Minnesota by Mike Lindell's own people. They're Americans. He's a great American. And you get some great American deals by calling 800-749-7098, 749-7098. Use the promo code HOOK and get up to 80% on all those great Giza bed sheets. They've got dog beds, for God's sake. They've got everything there. Go to mypillow.com, mystore.com, and use that promo code, and it works at both locations.
Yes,
Okay,
and your dog will love their dog beds unless it's my dog who doesn't like anything. My dog prefers to sleep on the slate tile floor in my kitchen.
cools them off.
And real quick, I want to say one other note on Mike Lindell is keep an eye out. He really does need your help right now, and you can do that by supporting MyPillow. Use code HOOK. But he goes on trial beginning of next month. I think it's on the 2nd, and he had a special message that we used on Sharona's show earlier today too on America's Mom. He really does need your help. He's one of the only people actually taking these corrupt electronic voting machine companies to court and making them fight it out there, and that's expensive. Most of the other people have settled or just thrown in the towel. So yeah, they really do need your support right now.
You're not kidding. And those companies need to be called out.
Yeah,
because I don't get me started. We can get into the 2020 election all over again, and then God knows where we'll end up. But anyway, Michael, Pete Buttigieg's former comms advisor. Did you see this? Did you see this clip? Our buddy, man, Scott Jennings. I say our buddy. I don't know the cat.
Oh, yeah.
He's my buddy just because of the way he is. I like him. So, Scott, you may not know it, but you're my friend, buddy. He's on CNN. And Liz Smith is Pete Buttigieg, his former comms advisor, which couldn't have been an easy gig. I mean, how do you explain? Well, he's wearing artificial breasts and taking paternity leave for the next 4 months. And no, he hasn't been to East Palestine, Ohio, and we don't know when he's going to be. I mean, it couldn't have been an easy gig for Liz Smith. But she shows a little bit more than ankle here. She reveals the whole dirty deeds that the Democrats did. And I don't even know that she tripped into this trap. But Scott Jennings was there to call her on it from CNN the day before yesterday. Let's go to cut 4. Watch this. This is glorious.
Are mad. Why the base is mad at some of the leaders in Washington is not because they're not left enough. It's because, Chuck Schumer came out with no strategy, no forewarning, and just said, we're going to fold on the CR. I mean, I think he could have done a better job of explaining what the strategy was and what we're going to do, but there wasn't anything like that. I think Democrats are learning, and I'm going to agree with you that Democrats cannot only be the party of resistance. We cannot, we resisted so hard between 2017 and 2024. We impeached the guy, we prosecuted him, convicted him of 34 felony counts, and guess what? He still got elected. So I don't know how much harder we can resist now.
Are you admitting that that the case against Trump in New York was part of the organized Democratic Party resistance?
It was a Democratic prosecutor, and at the time, I said I thought it was unwise. I went on Fox News Democrats
You're
who
right.
there
were Democrats who said this at the time.
There were a lot.
Just to be clear, everybody who now touts the 34 felonies, take it from Liz. This was not a real case. This was a plot to upend the presidential campaign, which backfired.
I just think it was a boneheaded move by Alvin Bragg, but it's not his first or last one. So.
This is why we invite Liz, because she's a plain-spoken New York Paul who can really tell it straightforward in a straightforward.
Yeah. There you go. Now, I love the way they're trying to just kind of laugh that off, but that was the problem. And therein lies their real problem. Americans saw through it, Michael. Americans have seen through the 34 felonies and the impeachments. Americans have seen through it. The only people that believe that stuff and tout it are the TDS victims in their own. I mean, the people that absolutely despise Trump and will never give him credit for anything. They're the only ones that buy into this stuff. So when people say he's been convicted, most people look at him and go, well, you're an idiot to even say that.
Yeah, and I may be mixing this up with one of the other Trump persecution cases out of New York. Either the Stormy Daniels payoff case or the E. Jean Carroll Moonbat case. But I think this is the one that Alvin Bragg didn't even want to pursue, that even he looked at it and was like, no, there's no grounds for this.
Pushed into doing it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this one, because even he read the law and realized, okay, that there is no underlying crime. We can't move these up to felonies. This is just a poorly written law. They obviously intend there to be a previously convicted crime before you'd move forward with this. And they're like, no, well, it doesn't say that there. So technically, we can just make it up and have the jurors imagine whatever crime they want to that Trump may have committed and say that that was justification for it.
I swear to God. But like I said, the thing that's so wrong about it is, here's the problem with people like James Comey and these people that suffer TDS. They really do believe that everyone of sound mind and body believes exactly like they do. Yeah. They believe that. They believe that if they say it enough times, people will think that Trump has been convicted of 34 felonies. He hasn't been. And as you mentioned a week or so ago, all of these things are going to get thrown out on appeal anyway.
Yeah.
So they're not going to have long to make that claim. And even Scott Jennings looked at her. You can see he's like the cat that got the cream. He's looking at Liz Smith going, you're saying it. You're saying it. And then he's like, you said it. And now we all know. But pretty funny stuff. They're melting down in real time, even on national television.
Oh, yeah. And again, I mean, if they would get there, if they could overcome their TDS, and I'm not sure what the first step is to do that. Somebody should probably put together a good 12-step program. But if they could overcome that and start actually coming up with alternative policy, alternative views, maybe people would start taking them seriously as a political party again. Because right now it's just other Democrats with TDS, and they're even starting to lose some of them. Even a lot of these hardcore Democrats that are still in line with what they're doing are starting to question the lack of policy, the lack of alternatives. Because if all you do is go out and say, Orange man bad, policy bad, Orange man did it. But you're not offering any type of alternative, or where where it's become blatantly obvious, where they're opposing things now all of a sudden that they supported for years, like this prescription drug pricing. I mean, again, this is a failure on the Republicans too. That I can't believe they're saying this is going to be difficult to get through, and it's because of the money they get from Big Pharma. But the fact that Ro Khanna is the one that has to say, "I'll take Trump's executive order. I've turned that into a bill. I'm submitting that now, and I'd like somebody else to reach across the aisle. If I can reach out and take something President Trump did that will benefit America, then one of you Republicans can come out and co-sponsor my bill." And unfortunately, he's right. But there's very few on the left that have any type of policy agenda anymore. It's just hate Trump, and we need to at all costs keep all the illegal alien criminals in our country.
Well, but you know what? I mean, take a look at how they handled Fetterman. I think Fetterman was kind of they all of these, especially these freshman congressmen and women, they're looking at what happened to John Fetterman. They're like going, "Whoa, man, I'm just going to keep my head down. I'm not going to do media. I'm going to shut the hell up and I'm not going to do it." I mean, and that's what they have to do. And unfortunately, the loudest voices are the craziest voices. Yes. And they're the ones that the media brings on. And then the media is so determined to change people's opinion about, it wasn't us that didn't notice Biden. These people lied to us. They're more than willing to bring these people on that say, Biden staffers really kind of hid the ball. We didn't know this. We didn't know that. I'm happy to read your new book, Jake. And they're all in on it together. And it's so pathetic to watch. And I think that, like I say, most people see this for what it's worth. And then, of course, we couple that with Trump's, I mean, no matter what anybody says about Trump, this trip to the Middle East was startling in what he got done. I mean, he got so much. He got trillions of dollars in new investment. He got countries that had heretofore been not at all nice to us starting to say, well, hey, maybe we can be nice with you guys. And I just want to say this, Michael. This jet from Qatar that everybody's talking about and bitching about, let's just put this out there. That jet was given initially to the Biden administration.
Yes.
And they had approved it, and they were working on making it happen, and then they just dragged their feet because Joe Biden was being pushed around with his because Joe Biden was being pushed around with his drool cup and his colosophy bag, and the deal didn't go anywhere. Trump came in and they said, hey, by the way, we offered this to you guys. Do you want it? Trump says, oh, hell yeah, we'll take it. And now they're saying, oh, look what Trump did. It's grift. It's grift. It's like, okay, morons, you guys are the ones that approved the deal.
And again, this is another example of our media being fundamentally dishonest when they cover this kind of stuff and magically forgetting that Biden approved this to begin with. Now, I think it was 9 months ago. And sorry if I've got that a little bit off. But again, like the level of just pure intellectual dishonesty, they will do anything they can. They won't even diffuse something like this when the rumor gets started. Say, there's a lot of people out there that are mad about Trump accepting this Qatari jet, but not in actuality. This is something that started under the Biden regime. They can't even do that. They've got to lie about it and run every story they can. And then when they get caught, they'll run the apology on page 16 where no one ever sees it.
That's what they do. That's kind of the way it was. Remember when Biden was president, all these employment numbers came out, and then they're like, oh, great, uptick. And then 3 months later, we've revised it all down. Every single one of them was revised down, whether it was his employment numbers, whether it was the rate of inflation, all of it was, they were touted as, things are moving in the right direction, only to be told 3 months later, guess what, we got that wrong.
Yeah.
No, you didn't. You just BS'd us 3 months ago. You didn't get it wrong. You just lied.
They were changing how inflation is calculated in the definition of a recession so that they wouldn't have to say that Biden got us into a recession and that the inflation was worse than it was. And this is what they just did, too, with Trump's news that the inflation was down to, 2.4%. Media is reporting it as 2.7 or 2.8. Sorry, I can't remember now. Percent. But by subtracting out the drop in food and energy prices. So again, like they're fundamentally dishonest. They can't give the guy credit for anything. Doesn't matter what it is. They'll lie about it. When Biden started something, if it's beneficial to them to make it pretend that it's something that originated under Trump, that's what they're going to do. And that's why their audiences collapsed.
And God almighty, it seems that their audience has collapsed, no doubt about that. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to say, well, that's because there's more choices. People are getting their news online. That's just kind of that's the growing pains. That's what
America's
happens.
Full of white supremacists.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I was about to go to. And then they completely follow that up with, and of course, we live in a racist country. It's just so pathetic. All right, we got to take another break. We come back, we'll dive into some other stuff. I'll probably circle back on this trip and how great it was. It doesn't look like the Ukraine-Russian ceasefire is any closer, but we'll see how that plays out. You're watching The Right Hook with my friend Michael Lauber. I'm Steve Hook, and we'll be right back right after this.
Well, hello, everybody. It's Annie Cyrus. Welcome to my art studio where all the magic happens. This is the station for painting, and that is the station for all the resin art I do. If you want to check out my art, all you gotta do is go to lutfstudio.com. sure for this, I hope I'll see you at lutfstudio.com.
There she is, the lovely Annie Cyrus. Great producer and a great artist. Go check it out, lutfstudio.com. Handmade, faith-inspired, patriotic themes as well. All of them crafted by hand by the lovely Annie herself. You too can own an Annie original. Just go to LUTF. Remember that, Live Up to Freedom Studio.com. LUTFstudio.com. Use the promo code RightHook, and Annie will give you some special discounts on her one-of-a-kind artwork. And it's all good because she works in so many different mediums. She does the resin work, she does paintings, she does glass work. Well, you just go to the studio and find out, LUTFstudio.com. All right, Michael, what else we got, buddy?
Oh, let's see. Where do you want to go next? Let me pull up some.
Just about anywhere. Let's just say this while you're looking for that. There had been word that perhaps Trump would fly to Turkey to sit in with this Putin and Zelensky meeting.
Yeah.
That got put on the kibosh because apparently Putin is doing what, and I think you said this last week, Putin's going to be dragging his feet and he's going to use it as a stall tactic. Trump's no idiot. I think he knew that was going to happen too. That's why he would never commit to it. But it does look like pressure is being brought to bear on Putin by way of more sanctions and stuff. So we'll see how it plays out. But all in all, that didn't spoil what was a wonderful trip to the Mideast. What do you think?
Well, I agree. And I'm trying to pull up the story here real quick because it seems like these talks that Zelensky is also trying to sabotage him again, saying that he doesn't want to recognize any agreement where they cede territory to Russia. And that includes territory they ceded to Russia over 10 years ago, when Obama was still in office in 2014. And they lost a territory.
Crimea.
Yeah, Crimea. I knew it wasn't Donbass. But now I saw at the conclusion of these where Putin, Russia's representatives, they thought the things went well and that there was forward movement here. But, that's again when Zelensky is now out there trying to sabotage whatever progress they made.
Well, that's because Zelensky excuses himself to the bathroom, does a little Peruvian marching powder, comes back out there, ties his 8-ball in a baggie and shoves it in his pocket and comes back out and says, "Screw it, all of you."
Yes.
I joke, but I don't know how much of a joke it really is. I think the guy's got it.
Yeah, when the booger sugar hits, I think everybody knows it.
But speaking of which, did you see that video last week of Macron and all of the... Did you watch that video?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a tissue. I watched the zoomed in version afterwards. I'm pretty sure that was just a tissue he pulled off the table. I mean, I don't really care if they want to do cocaine on a train in Ukraine or not. Especially not all these like Dr. Seuss. I don't care about these European losers. They have no effect on us here in the States regardless. They're not capable of funding a war or fighting Russia either. They'll get freaking curb stomped. So I don't care about these losers.
That's why it's so great to see Trump do stuff like go to Ridya and play Lee Greenwood's Proud to be an American and stand through the whole thing. Like,
yes, make them listen to it.
You're going to listen to this, son, but you're not dealing with Keir Starmer here. I'm not some beta boy, gamma boy that's just going to bend down and try and appease everybody. It really is fun to watch. Okay, what else have you got? I just wanted to touch on that.
I was going to pull this up real quick because... you want to talk about thumb in the eye. Watch LaMonica McIver wearing prison orange jumpsuit, repeatedly refusing to answer Gateway pundit reporters' questions about assaulting agents at ICE facility as criminal investigations loom. So, she's been wearing this little scarf made out of a prison jumpsuit, and basically it's a thumb in the eye. This is because she doesn't think she's going to get arrested, but luckily Alina Habba thinks differently. But I think they need to frog march all three of them out, because again, like we talked about earlier with Comey, until these retards learn a lesson, we're going to get the same behavior out of them over and over and over again until they get smacked down and thrown in jail about it. We're just going to keep getting it. We've got to send a message that this is unacceptable, and the smart ones will back down, and I guess we can just arrest the remaining stupid ones.
Well, I can tell you that color does nothing for her, but it's going to look good wrapped around her. I just think that all of them, I've always been one to kind of say, hey, listen, let the wheels of justice take their time. Sometimes justice is slow. It's not always swift, but ultimate justice prevails. And then, of course, I waited for the Durham report forever. And now I'm on the side of, God dang it, why aren't they arresting these people en masse right now? I sure as hell hope that Alina Habba, it sounds like she's got the balls to do it.
If anything, I think they're holding her back right now because you keep in mind they arrested the other mayor day after. So if anything, they've given them a little bit of time.
By the way, that guy Ras Baraka, he's running for governor. I mean, he's a blip on the screen of the governor's race, but that's why he did what he did. He's trying to get his name recognition a little bit more pumped up, trying to get the radicals involved more pumped up. But I can tell you, I live in New Jersey. This state is going red. I'm not saying it's going to be completely red. It may be mauve. It may be slightly purple, but it's going way more red. Where I live, if you have a Biden sticker, people laugh at you as they drive by you. I mean, it's just nobody. And Harris stickers, forget it. I mean, that's completely a disqualifier. But these three ought to be arrested for sure.
Yeah, and I agree with you too about New Jersey. When I was in Bedminster last summer for a J6 fundraiser, I was shocked to drive around there and see as many pro-Trump flags as I did prior to the election. And I can't think of the name of the beach we went to that was south of there the next day. But same thing, even on these big mansions on the beach, there were several of them that had giant Trump banners.
Oh yeah.
2 stories tall, hanging down that everybody could see that's out on the beach. And I didn't see any for Kamala Harris. I mean, I saw small signs, but nobody at that level of support. But just the fact that I saw that many in New Jersey tells me things are shifting.
They certainly are shifting. And where you were at, Bedminster isn't really near where I'm at. I mean, it's not far away. New Jersey's a tiny state after all. But the shore is where I'm from. And you're right. You see those signs everywhere. Every summer they do a Trump boat parade, and it's huge. It's really big, and people are into it, man. And I got to say that after the first 100 and some odd days of Trump being in office, I don't think the enthusiasm for him has died down at all.
No.
If anything, it's been the polar opposite. I just saw right before we came on air today, Michael, that his numbers have ticked up 2, 3, even up to 4%, depending on the poll you're looking at, just in the last couple of weeks. So this trip has not only been well received overseas, but the voters are paying attention to it as well.
Yeah, I just got actually literally 30 seconds ago, I got a message from one of our regular viewers who sends me some clips sometimes here and there. So the title on this is Donald Trump has some pretty good political instincts. CNN's Harry Enton on President Trump's rising approval ratings. So as they're failing and flailing, Trump's approval's going up. And, I can't help but think it's also because of things like this. So I don't know if you saw this, but there's a story over on The Blaze. Democrats pick Beijing over Trump in shocking trade war poll. And and to be honest, I kind of feel like they missed the headline here because the detail that really stuck out to me on this was 38% of Democrats said they had no opinion either way, that one was just as good as the other. They didn't care if the U.S. or China won the trade war. They just had no opinion. And even with that many saying they had no opinion, there was still a majority that sided with Beijing over the United States.
Well, I mean, there's good news and bad news here. The bad news is there are people out there that hate Trump so much that they would allow that hate to fester into hatred of their own neighbors, hatred of their own country, hatred of capitalism, hatred of our traditions, hatred of anything that might in any way be associated with Trump. The good news, though, is that number is shrinking.
Yes.
People are dropping off from that number. People are saying, I don't want to be affiliated with these batshit crazy liberals that have destroyed the party that I and my grandparents and my parents and my cousins and uncles have always voted for. And those Democrats do exist out there, the old school Democrats.
Yeah.
But they're keeping their head down.
Or they're voting Republican.
Or they're voting Republican. You're damn right.
Yeah.
And if I tell you, you don't win 7 swing states without converting a few people. You just don't do it.
I mean, I think that's exactly what we're seeing. Like, this is self-evident. This is Tulsi Gabbard. This is RFK Jr. this is Donald Trump himself. You know, these are all former Democrats that watched these people go further and further off the rails and finally decided, you know what, I can't keep supporting these lunatics that want to destroy our country. And, you know, and I think, you know, RFK Jr. is probably more of a recent convert than some of the others. I think Tulsi Gabbard got the message after the whole Clinton fiasco in 2016, what they did to Bernie. And then she's been slowly working her way over to our side. But I think RFK Jr. has really been shocked by what he's seen from his party. You know, again, he's in a dynasty family that has always been known for being, you know, strong Democrat support. And to see the way that he's treated now over just a difference of opinion on the vaccine originally, and now he's, you know, he's hated. He's persona non grata. He will never be going to these fancy
even
functions.
by members of his own family, for God's sakes.
Yeah. I saw a story recently that, you know, I guess some of that his kids are finally coming over to his side too. And it's because of all the hate they're getting because of him and seeing what really makes up the DNA of the Democrat Party.
God, it's just filled with hate.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so filled with hate. I mean, you know, we talked just a bit ago what they've done to John Fetterman. I wonder how long before the sharp knives come for Ro Khanna. I mean, you know,
they already are.
I'm sure, but I mean, it's just a matter of time before somebody, you know, some insiders say Ro Khanna is acting crazy behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean,
well,
it's crazy. I mean, you know, look, put it this way, Michael. You get people that have a modicum of common sense. They may not be very smart politically and all this, but they do have a thimbleful of common sense, and they can see the direction that the Democrats are going. And those people are people like Ro Khanna, people like Fetterman, as we mentioned before, people like Bill Maher, quite frankly. And they're doing their level best to warn the Democratic Party hierarchy, whoever that may be at this point, it should be pointed out, because we don't know. But whoever it is, whoever claims to be in a leadership role, had better figure this out. And when you put people out there like AOC and Bernie and say, I mean, your message is just getting stepped all over. I don't know, man. I don't know that they're going to survive.
I don't think they are. I think they're going to probably have a split rift after the 2026 when they just take this giant beat down. You know, I really do think they're going to lose somewhere between 30 and 60 seats in this coming race. And, well, right now you've got a lot of people in the media trying to prop them up saying, oh, they're going to take this seat back. They're going to do that. They're going to do this. And yeah, they might win a couple of those, but I think they're going to lose a lot more. Like you said, New Jersey, there's plenty of other states shifting red. There's 3 reps getting ready to go to prison, hopefully, for attacking ICE officers. And think of all the media we have, of all the things that they've said, from going down to see Kilmar Obrego Garcia and down south of the border, and all the support for illegal aliens, the support for the LGBTQ tranny madness. I mean, we've got a whole reel of commercials for the next 10 election cycles just off the lunacy we've seen since Trump's inauguration. So they're not going to win. They're going to lose a bunch of seats, and they're already, oh man, what is his name? One of their reps is already out there saying that the next election is going to be corrupted, and they can't win because Trump's going to rig the next election.
Oh boy!
I mean, they're already laying the framework for that. Oh, what is that guy's name?
I don't know, but if you think about it, pipe up. But I'll just say this: that if they lose, this is going to sound crazy. If they lose 25, 30, 40 seats, it could actually be the best thing that ever happened to them.
Yes.
Because then they will be forced to address the elephant in the room, as it were, and that is our base is crazier than hell, and we stupidly hitched our wagon onto their star, and now we're getting drugged right into the damn black hole of political, finality with it. I mean, they have damn near crossed the event horizon of never coming back as a political party. And maybe the best thing that could ever happen to them is to get absolutely crushed in the midterms and have to do a major reset. I don't know. I'm just spitballing it, but God knows that the path they're on isn't going to work for them. So anything else before we wrap it up, Michael?
Looks like they just found a body outside of Taylor Swift's mansion. But I guess we'll discuss that next time.
We will discuss it. Apparently they found a leg bone. Now, I don't know. They say no foul play is suspected, We just found a random leg.
Happens all the time. You know.
Somebody probably lost
mowing
it
my-
while jogging.
Yeah, I was out mowing my lawn last week and found a hip. Anyway.
Well, listen, Michael, have a great weekend, brother. And as always, thanks for being there. Fridays with Michael. We love him here on The Right Hook. Thank you for joining us today. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. We remind you The Right Hook is on every Wednesday and Friday, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard, right on X America News, Rumble, Facebook, just about everywhere. And make sure you check out our homepage, xamericanews.com, xamericanews.com. Michael, God bless you, brother. Have a wonderful weekend. Folks, until next Wednesday,